Hello and welcome to Your Broken Galaxy. I am Broken, and today I am doing fight number 19 of my 128 character Star Wars tournament. It is Obi Wan vs. Han, and even though it's 128 characters, these are random number generated fights. I didn't choose who fights who. So, here we go. Han says the Force is a hokey religion, and Obi-Wan is like, you know, you don't need to oppress me for my religious beliefs. And Han is like, there's no evidence for an all-powerful Force. So Obi-Wan says, would you like to debate that? And Han is like, yeah. Just then, Chewbacca, also sitting about the Millennium Falcon, goes to grab two podiums that they had left over from a very weird smuggling job they had performed a week earlier, and C-3PO says, as a protocol droid, I will serve as the moderator for this debate. Captain Solo, you will have the first statement. So Han stands up and says, there is a reasonable explanation for all things in the galaxy. No mystical wizards or force magic or anything like that. The evidence is clear. I don't need 2 minutes. That's it. 3PO says, Master Kenobi, your response. And Obi-Wan replies, can you prove that the Force isn't real? And Han is like, what? And Obi-Wan says again, you say there's nothing that can prove the Force is real, but can you prove the Force isn't real? And Han says, well, there's no evidence for it. So Obi-Wan is like, but that doesn't mean it isn't real. At best, your argument is that so far you have no proof. No proof it is real, and no proof it isn't real. Yeah, but science explains everything. And Obi-Wan says, yeah, well, if science is the way it is because the Force made it that way, what about that? And Han is like, you can't prove that. And Obi-Wan is like, you're right, and you can't prove it isn't. And Luke is like, oh, that's good. And 3PO says, gentlemen, please, respect the format of the debate. Captain Solo, what is your next statement? And Solo says, if there was an all-powerful Force, we'd be able to see evidence of it all over the place. So 3PO says, thank you, Captain. Master Kenobi? It does. The living Force is what allows life to exist in the galaxy. If there were no Force, you wouldn't exist. You are evidence for the Force. And Han says, that's not how the Force works. And Ben says, how do you know? And Han says, that's not evidence. And Luke says, Han, you're not doing very good. So 3PO interjects and says, please, no remarks from the audience. Master Kenobi, it's your turn again. So Ben says, the Force is a true and real phenomena. There are literally millions of eyewitnesses of the feats of the Jedi during the Clone Wars that are still alive today. There are thousands of years of history that feature their exploits. It was all a mass hallucination, Han says. Captain Solo. Please, 3PO interrupts, allowing him to give Obi-Wan the chance to speak again. Look, Han says angrily, if there was some proof, something, then I'd believe. If you could show me the Force was real, but there just isn't anything there. And Obi-Wan says, no, you wouldn't. And Han's like, what do you mean I wouldn't? So Obi-Wan says, you would just make up an excuse. You'd say you're hallucinating or delusional or that it's just some kind of trick. You wouldn't believe. And the reason you wouldn't believe isn't because of the evidence and the lack of the Force. You wouldn't believe because you don't want to believe. And 3PO says, does anyone have any closing remarks? And Han says, this guy's a nut. And Obi-Wan says, no closing remarks. So 3PO says, thank you to both participants. As moderator for this debate, I want to recognize the privilege. And Obi-Wan cuts him off and says, I don't have any closing remarks, but I do have a demonstration if that's all right. 3PO looks confused and then at Han and says, this is quite unorthodox. Captain Solo, do you consent to allow Master Kenobi to do a demonstration? Fine, Han says. Ah, good. Very well, Master Kenobi, proceed. So, Obi-Wan starts lifting R2 up in the air and flipping him about all this way and that. He jumps up in the air himself, does a double flip, incredibly fast despite the very low ceiling in the Millennium Falcon. He then waves his hand around and says, the Force is real, to which Han says, the Force is real. And Obi-Wan says, Chewbacca, I can feel your amusement at this situation. And Chewie laughs and nods. Then Han shakes his head and says, that doesn't prove anything. And 3PO says, well, to determine a winner of this debate, we'll have to vote. All who favor Master Kenobi's position. To which R2 chirps in agreement, Chewie nods, Luke laughs and says, yeah, I think so. Obi-Wan raises Han's hand. Han, of course, is embarrassed by this and pulls his hand down quickly, and then Obi-Wan nods to signify his vote. C-3PO then says, apparently it's unanimous. Master Kenobi is the winner, having made an utter fool out of Captain Solo. Well, that is my video for today. It was not so much a fight this time, but it was a versus video. A debate versus videos between the atheists, I guess, of Han Solo. It's hard to call Jedi theists. They don't believe in a god, just the Force, but who cares? I hope you enjoyed the video. If you would like a say in how or who wins these videos, you can sign up for my Patreon. Links in the description below. Thanks for watching. Please like, subscribe, and all that. Hey now, Goldenrod, that's a little harsh, Han says. Harsh but true, 3PO replies, as Han pulls out a blaster to shoot 3PO, and then Obi-Wan stabs him with a lightsaber. Right in the face! Sorry, I always wanted to do a secret, post-credits ending on here. Thanks for watching. Please like, subscribe, and all that garbage.